Why most traders fail. The trap of complexity. Have you ever asked yourself why the more you study, the more you lose in trading? Why the more tools, indicators, and strategies you add, the faster your account burns? If you're stuck in that cycle, you're not alone. 95% of traders fail, and the reason is not what you think. Here's the harsh truth. 95% of traders worldwide cannot make consistent profits. Some give up after just a few months. Others hold on longer, but eventually leave the market in regret. The surprising part is that they all make the same mistake. They make trading too complicated. New traders are usually overly eager. You see others bragging about quick profits. You believe Forex is a money printing machine. You binge watch videos, devour ebooks, and chase every new system or indicator. You convince yourself that the more you know, the better you'll trade. But in reality, it works the opposite way. The indicator trap. Think back to your early days. You open a chart and start stacking RSI, Macedi, Ichimoku, Fibonacci, Bollinger Bands. Suddenly, your chart turns into a chaotic rainbow. You assume more signals equal more certainty, but in truth, more signals equal more confusion. RSI says buy, MACD says sell. EMA shows an uptrend, Bollinger Bands suggest a reversal. You hesitate, second guess, and finally enter based on gut feeling. And the account keeps bleeding. The trap of information overload. When you lose, you think the problem is not enough knowledge, so you study fundamental analysis, read economic reports, follow inflation, interest rates, GDP, employment data, central bank policies. You believe that the more you know, the more professional you'll become. But here's the reality. Trading is not a knowledge contest. It's a game of psychology, discipline, and simplicity. Like a drowning swimmer, the more they thrash, the faster they sink. Traders who overcomplicate are the ones who make the biggest mistakes. The real nature of trading is not the place to show off how smart you are. It's the place to train patience and discipline. I used to be just like you. I thought the solution was always to add more indicators, more strategies, more news feeds. But eventually I realized the key was not adding, but subtracting. Subtract indicators, subtract expectations, subtract trades, subtract complexity, and replace them with a system that is simple, clear, and repeatable, a method I could follow every single day without mental chaos. A real example. I began trading only one currency pair on one time frame with one strategy. No trying to pick tops and bottoms, no chasing news, no jumping in just because others were making money. And the results were remarkable. I stopped blowing accounts. I gained emotional control. I no longer felt the need to trade every day, but when I did trade, I knew exactly why. Profits didn't come fast, but they came steady and sustainable. The first lesson. Here's what I want you to take away. Simplicity is the true key to survival in trading. Complexity might make you feel smart in the short term, but simplicity is what carries you through the long run. Trading is not about knowing everything. It's about doing a few things very well. Why simplicity is the key to survival in trading. When you first come to the market, your only goal is usually to make money. You want quick profits, big wins, and flashy results. But after a few months or a few painful blown accounts, you begin to realize something deeper. The first goal in trading is not to make money. The first goal is to survive, because if you don't survive, you'll never get the chance to profit in the long run. Why survival matters more than winning. In most professions, the more knowledge and skills you gain, the more stable your income becomes. But in trading, it doesn't work that way. You can be right 90% of the time, but one single mistake can wipe out your account. That's why trading is brutally different. It's not about how often you win, but about whether you can stay alive long enough to let probability work in your favor. And the factor that keeps you alive is not some holy grail strategy, not a magic indicator, not a super complex system. The factor is simplicity, the jungle analogy. Imagine you are lost in a dense jungle. Danger is everywhere. Wild animals, poisonous plants, hidden traps. If you carry 3 backpacks, 10 tools, and keep checking your map every 5 minutes, you'll collapse before you ever find the way out. But if you only carry what's essential, water, a knife, and a clear direction, you have a much higher chance of survival. Trading is no different. The more complexity you pile on yourself, 5 indicators, 3 time frames, 10 currency pairs, endless news feeds, the faster you'll drown in information and emotion. But when you simplify, when you focus only on what truly matters, you give yourself the mental space to make better decisions and survive market storms. What really matters in trading, there are only 2 factors that determine whether you survive in trading: risk management. How much are you risking per trade? Do you have a stop loss in place? Can you take 5 losing trades in a row and still have enough capital to continue? Emotional control. Can you stay calm during a drawdown? Can you accept a losing streak without abandoning your system? Can you resist the temptation to overtrade when you're excited or desperate? And here's the magic, both of these become easier when your system is simple. Simplicity brings clarity. When your system is simple, you know exactly what to do. There's no hesitation, no maybe yes, maybe no. If price breaks above resistance, you buy. If price breaks below support, you sell. If stop loss is hit, you exit without question. That's it. No extra layers of analysis, no overthinking, no paralysis by information. A simple system can often be written in one sentence. And if you can't summarize your trading plan in one sentence, it's too complicated. Simplicity brings focus. When you focus on only one strategy, one time frame, one market, you begin to master it. You see patterns others don't. You notice how price reacts at certain times of the day, how news affects volatility, how fake breakouts form. This deep understanding only comes when you stop spreading yourself thin across 10 different tools and markets. Simplicity gives you the focus to build true expertise. Simplicity brings stability. Complex traders constantly jump between strategies. One week they use moving averages, the next week Fibonacci, the next week smart money concepts. They never stick to one method long enough to collect reliable statistics. As a result, they can't measure their real win rate, average RR ratio, or long-term expectancy. Their trading is based on feelings, not data. Simple traders, however, use one system consistently. They track every trade, they know their numbers, and because they know their numbers, they trust their edge even through losing streaks. That stability is what keeps them alive while others quit. Simplicity reduces emotional stress. Think about how much energy you burn when you're juggling 6 indicators, 3 markets, and endless news updates. Every candle becomes a crisis. Every tweet feels like it could destroy your setup. But when your system is simple, your mind is calm. You don't need to justify every decision. You don't panic every time you see a red candle. You don't second guess your entries or exits. Instead, you trade like a machine, clear rules, clear actions, no unnecessary drama. A practical example. Some of the most successful traders in the world use incredibly simple systems. Some trade only moving averages. If price is above the 50 MA, they buy. If below, they sell. Others trade only price action, wait for a breakout of a key level, then enter in that direction. Some wait for a simple candlestick pattern like engulfing or pin bar at support, resistance, and that's it. No RSI, no MACD, no Fibonacci. Just simple, repeatable setups tested thousands of times. Why traders complicate things. If simplicity is so powerful, why do most traders complicate everything? Because complexity makes you feel smarter. It makes you feel like you're doing more and knowing more. But in reality, it just hides the fact that you're avoiding the real work, discipline, patience, and execution. It's easier to download a new indicator than to sit through a losing streak with the same system. It's easier to buy another course than to build emotional resilience. But the traders who win long-term are not the ones who know the most. They are the ones who can stick to the simplest plan and follow it with iron discipline. The core truth trading success is not about adding more, it's about removing everything unnecessary. Remove extra indicators, remove extra markets, remove extra news feeds, remove emotional decisions. And what remains is a clear, simple, powerful system that you can execute with confidence. The real goal. So here's the second big lesson. Survival comes from simplicity. If you can survive long enough with a simple system, profits will eventually follow. But if you drown in complexity, you'll never even last long enough to see success. Trading is not about being right. It's about being clear, consistent, and disciplined enough to survive. And simplicity is the only way to achieve that. How to make simplicity a lifestyle in trading. By now, we've uncovered 2 critical truths. Complexity is the silent killer of most traders. Survival, and therefore long-term success, comes from keeping things simple. But here's the real challenge. Simplicity is easy to understand but hard to maintain. Why? Because the market, social media, and even your own emotions constantly tempt you to complicate things. It's like being on a diet, eating clean works, but every day you're tempted by junk food. The same happens in trading. Even when you've built a simple, effective system, there are forces trying to pull you away from it. To truly succeed, you must turn simplicity into a lifestyle, a long-term mindset, not just a temporary choice. The hidden enemies of simplicity. Let's break down 3 of the biggest threats that slowly sabotage your ability to keep trading simple. 1. The just one more syndrome. You've probably told yourself this before. If I just add one more indicator, it'll filter out the bad trades. If I just learn one more strategy, I'll be unstoppable. If I just follow one more guru, I'll be safer. This is the illusion of infinite learning. You think that the more you add, the more control you'll have. But in reality, every extra tool adds more confusion, more decision-making, and more doubt. I once knew a trader who doubled his account in 2 months. using nothing but the MA50 and simple pullbacks. It worked beautifully, but then he thought if this is good adding RSI and MACD will make it even better. The result, conflicting signals, hesitation, and a downward spiral of losses. The winning system didn't fail, the trader did because he complicated it. Lesson, if something works, don't add to it, refine it, repeat it, trust it. 2. Social media noise. In today's world, trading communities are everywhere. Telegram groups, Discord servers, YouTube channels, TikTok signal providers. At first, these seem helpful. You feel like you're learning from others and staying updated. But the danger is subtle. The more opinions you consume, the less confidence you have in your own plan. A friend of mine, let's call him Daniel, was trading gold successfully with a simple price action method, identifying supply and demand zones, waiting for engulfing candles, and entering only in the direction of the main trend. For 3 months, he kept a 65% win rate. Then he joined a Telegram group where people posted flashy smart money setups with fancy terminology he didn't understand. Suddenly, his method felt too basic. Within weeks, he abandoned his system, tried to copy them, and lost 30% of his account. Only when he left the group and returned to his simple method did he recover. Lesson, guard your focus. Simplicity requires mental space. Don't trade your clarity for noise. 3. Emotional sabotage. Even with a simple system, your emotions can destroy it. You cut winners too early because you're afraid of losing profits. You hold losers too long because you hope they'll turn around. You overtrade after a loss, trying to get it back. You increase position size after a big win, drunk on confidence. I've been there myself. After 7 straight winning trades, I felt invincible. So I doubled my lot size. 1 loss wiped out all the gains. Instead of stopping, I chased the market to recover. 4 losing trades later, I was not only back to 0, but deep in the red. The system wasn't the problem. My lack of emotional discipline was. Lesson simplicity is not just about the chart, it's about the mind. A simple system only works if you have the discipline to follow it consistently, regardless of emotions. How to protect simplicity. Knowing the enemies is one thing, defending against them is another. Here are 5 practical ways to keep your trading simple and sustainable. Limit your tools. Pick one strategy, one market, one time frame. Delete indicators you haven't backtested. Strip your chart until you can explain your setup in 1 sentence. Control your environment. Leave groups or channels that distract you. Stop following every trader online. Protect your attention like your capital, it's just as valuable. Write down your rules. Not in your head, but on paper or a sticky note on your screen. Example, trade only with the trend. Risk 1% per trade. Exit if RR ISA 12 is hit. If it's not written down, it's not real. Use a trading journal. Log every trade entry, exit, reason, and emotion. Over time, this data shows you the truth about your system. Journaling also keeps you accountable to your own rules. Set guardrails for your psychology. Daily max loss, stop trading after 2 losing trades. Weekly review, only adjust system once per week, not mid-trade. Break routine, step away from the screen when emotions rise. Simplicity as a lifestyle. At the end of the day, simplicity in trading is like fitness. You don't get healthy by trying every new diet or workout trend. You get healthy by sticking to a simple plan, eat clean, exercise consistently, rest well. Trading is the same. You don't win by trying every system under the sun. You win by picking one, testing it, and applying it with discipline. The hardest part isn't finding simplicity, it's keeping it when the world pulls you in the opposite direction. Every time you see someone flash a big win on social media, you'll feel tempted. Every time you hit a losing streak, you'll feel doubt. Every time a new indicator or strategy goes viral, you'll want to try it. But ask yourself, have I ever actually profited more by making things complicated, or have I always done better when I kept things simple? The ultimate truth. Simplicity is not a weakness, it's strength. It's clarity, it's focus. The trader who survives is the trader who simplifies. The trader who profits long-term is the one who can resist complexity. The trader who wins is not the smartest, but the most disciplined with a simple plan. So here's the question for you. Are you ready to stop chasing complexity and start mastering simplicity? Because in the end, trading is not about who gets rich the fastest, it's about who survives the longest. And the only way to survive is to keep it simple.